Exactly, and it's also a good reminder there that the tank on the bottom is the liquid oxygen tank, and the one that is towards the top, which you'll start to see that ring form when it does, around the middle of that booster is the liquid methane. So when you're trying to differentiate, that's what you'll be able to see what each tank is. Let's take some more questions here. Here is a question. Let's take this one from Jessica, saying, why doesn't Super Heavy and Starship have the black and white tracking squares like SLS? Adrian, do we know if there's any plans to ever paint the ship, or?
Yeah, I'm not aware of any like tracking squares on like photographic tracking squares on the ship or booster for this one. It seems like SpaceX wants to track differently, but I know they have a lot of cameras installed on both ship and booster, so that might be their preferred method of watching this and getting engineering data. But I'm not aware of any plans for that, and I think once it doesn't happen on the debut flight, it's getting increasingly unlikely on like further flights. So I would at this point not expect any of these marks.
Here's a good question from Chad, asking, we know Booster 9 has electric TVC. Do we know if any ships have them? And I'm going to broaden this a little bit. So, Ian, what is thrust vector control, and is it electric or hydraulic used on this particular mission launching today?
Yes, so to answer your second question first, this is using hydraulic TVC. Now, what TVC, or thrust vector control, is a method of moving the engines or gimbaling them and changing their direction. Now, the reason you want to do that is so you can actively change the direction that the ship is flying in. Now, that is the primary method of control for the vehicle. Now, of course, some other rockets do have things like RCS, a reaction control system, which uses minor thrusters, but that's only for more fine maneuvers. For the first stages of vehicle, such as Super Heavy here, and the second stage of the vehicle as well, you're going to want to have your engine actively moving to correct your course. Now, like I said before, Booster 7 and Ship 24 here are making use of hydraulic TVC. Now, what that means is they have a hydraulic power unit pumping around hydraulic fluid that is used to move these engines. They basically have pistons on them to move them around. Now, like Sawyer said, on Booster 9 and later boosters, and likely some later ships as well, we don't know the exact ship numbers, they will implement electric TVC rather than hydraulic. So that's what we're looking ahead for in terms of TVC.
All right, a reminder, you are not looking at Vandenberg right now. This is a live look at Starbase near Boca Chica, Texas, where we are less than an hour and a half away from the scheduled liftoff of Starship. Have to throw a little West Coast acknowledgement there. TK Midnight, thank you very much for the support there. Okay, thank you for the support as well. 941 Matt, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Rai, thank you for becoming a Capcom member. Reminder, Capcom and above gets access to Discord as well. Sagan, thank you very much for all of your purchases there from the store at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Methane Man gifting 10 Red Team memberships. If you receive a gifted membership, make sure you thank them. And if you do have that Red Team membership, like Joganda there as well, or like Scooby-Doo, then you get access to the multi-view stream, where we will rotate through 27 different feeds that you can look at, 9 per screen, rotating through, of all the different views of launch, some of which we won't even show on air here, and some of which are not live on our Starbase Live 24/7 feeds. So cool access there. Gregor, thank you for the support. Dave saying, I love the smell of rocket fuel in the morning. Same. Excited for the history that we'll hopefully see here. And Innerspace with the kind messages. Welcome to all the new members. I know you'll love NSS coverage. They are the best. We appreciate those kind words. And we are now getting official confirmation from SpaceX at this moment, as we've seen here, that fueling of the Super Heavy booster is underway. That was as of a tweet from just a few minutes ago. So again, fueling of Super Heavy, as we've seen, is underway. The official confirmation coming in there from the SpaceX Twitter feed. Here's a question from Ariel, and I'll pose this one to you, Adrian. Do both the ship and the booster have an FTS, a flight termination system, in case of a failure?
Yes, that is the case. The flight termination system of both stages is on the common dome of the corresponding stage, because that would be the place where you want to break the tank structure to make sure that both vehicles are destroyed as you want, because a flight termination system is mainly about destroying the vehicle.
There you go. Hopefully we don't need to use it. You can see it looks like another frost ring forming there around the methane tank. So with that fueling confirmed underway, let's take a look at the countdown timeline of where we are at and where we still have to go. So we now have the confirmation there that the liquid methane and liquid oxygen loading is underway onto the booster, not only from that confirmation tweet, but the fact that we can see those frost rings starting to form on the booster itself. So next up will be fueling of ship 24, first beginning with the liquid methane, then followed by the liquid oxygen. After that, the ship header tanks will start to be filled up too. So again, the next thing that we'll be keeping an eye out for on that timeline is the ship fueling. That will be indicated by a vent coming from the tower. And as mentioned, it's staggered with the liquid methane first, then the liquid oxygen, followed by the header tanks about 50 minutes after that. Booster engine chill is scheduled for about 17 minutes before liftoff, and this propellant load is expected to continue for quite a while, finally finishing off and going into top-off mode about 5 minutes before liftoff. So just keeping that in mind and wrapping up between 5 and 3 minutes there to have everything fully fueled and ready to go for that T0 currently scheduled for 8:28 a.m. Central Time. Here's a really interesting question and something fun to think of here. Do we know if Starship has the capability of docking to the ISS like shuttle, Ian?
Ship fuel load has started.
Oh, and we just got to call out on the internal comms that the fuel load on the ship has started right on time, actually.
There we go, just as we saw on that timeline there. Beautiful. So a reminder, that's the methane first, followed 5 minutes later by the oxygen.
Excellent. So yeah, this question is asking about the capability of stocking Starship to the ISS, much like the shuttle. Now, in theory, they could. I don't see like a theoretical reason why they couldn't. But from a structural standpoint, I believe I remember hearing that because of Starship's larger mass than the shuttle, it's about 2 times the mass of shuttle. It has much different structural effects on the ISS. Now, of course, it's a major a structural linkage there, attaching Starship from a relatively small docking port to the much larger ISS. I'm sure they could somehow figure some kind of structural mechanism out to make sure that it doesn't, snap the ISS in half. But I would be kind of surprised if we ever do see a Starship docking to the ISS.
Yes, and we can see that tower vent, by the way. If you look on the left side of the launch tower there, right towards the middle, you will see that vent that we had talked about. That is the final purge of the liquid nitrogen from all those lines. Again, another indication that fueling is proceeding as planned up to this point. Just wanted to take a second and mention that going on at the moment. All right. Ola, thank you very much for becoming a Red Team member. Raleigh, thank you for becoming a Launch Director member, one of the higher memberships. Brad, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Chief, thank you for upgrading to Red Team membership. Chemstatic, currently on a flight from New York City to Fort Lauderdale, potentially landing around T0. It depends if you're talking 9 o'clock Eastern. If so, then yes. Again, the liftoff is 8:28 Central or 13:28 UTC. Let's see. Brian saying, let's rock this monster. I'm with you on that. Let's rock indeed. Is it a monster or is it a pencil? I guess depends on who you ask. NNA saying for Padre Island, it's a pencil. And James saying, hopefully Elon had the team serenade Starship with some TLC today because we don't want no scrubs. And I won't even say the rest of the lines at this point. But yeah, there's plenty of songs that you can go along with today. You've got the Scrubs one. You've got Starships Are Meant to Fly. Take your pick. Here's a question from Trigv. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Adrian, I'll send this one over to you. how long could Starship theoretically contain its fuel in case of a hold? So what's the deal with fuel topping off?
We don't actually fully understand that yet. We know it has more holding capabilities as a Falcon 9, for example, because it can actually hold, which is an ability Falcon 9 doesn't have. Once Falcon 9 is on countdown, it's locked in. Starship can wiggle around in its countdown. However, that might come down also to the fact that it's not like fully optimized yet and fully like there where it should be yet, and they are not really tight on margins. But right now, it is like it seems to be that that there is hold capabilities. I don't know exactly how long that is on the second, but yeah, it seems like there is some capability for SpaceX to hold the countdown, perform additional checkouts, and then continue with the countdown.
And there's a great view of all the different tank farm features there, with the liquid oxygen, the LOX, the liquid nitrogen, water, the subcoolers for the liquid methane, and that tower vent, which we are still seeing currently, highlighted there as well. And a reminder that the fuel farm itself can hold 1.2 starships worth of fuel. So you could fill 1.2 starships worth if you were to drain all of the tanks, which means there is that little bit of extra fuel there that they can use for topping off. And the window is 62 minutes, so we know at least 62 minutes worth. Let's see. We'll take some more questions here. Reminder, you can tag us at NASA Spaceflight and ask us any questions you have, from the complex to the simple questions, because we want to make sure that the stream is accessible to anyone and everyone. Here's a question from CG Justin, and I'll throw this one to Ian. Why use methane instead of something like Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, which uses RP1 or refined kerosene?
Yes, there's actually a few reasons to use methane. First off, and pretty much the main reason that they've chosen methane, according to Elon, is that methane is producible on Mars. Actually, we see right here the tower. Oh, sorry, I misread that. But the methane is much more efficient as well. So you could produce it on Mars from the CO2 in Mars's atmosphere, as well as the H2O or water from Martian ice. So you can produce methane on Mars. In addition to that, methane is much more efficient than kerosene. It's not quite as efficient as hydrogen. It's kind of like a middle child there. It also is much cleaner in terms of producing less soot, so it clogs up your engine less. That's great if you want to worry about reusability. Now with Falcon 9, with the Merlin engine, because they're burning kerosene, you have to worry about soot not only building up on the side of the rocket, but also slowly clogging up the internals of your engine. Now we haven't seen that necessarily be an issue yet with Falcon 9, but it's just something you want to prevent if you're doing rapid reuse like they hope to do with Starship down the road. So there's a lot of different variables in play there, and a lot of reasons why methane is favorable for a vehicle like Starship.
There you go. Hopefully that answers your question. Chantel, thank you very much for the support. And a shout out to David Cook there. Huron, talking about hopefully we'll get some onboard views like Falcon 9. I think we will. Commander Crimboman, thank you very much for the support. Best way to test your favorite equation about delta V. Thanks for the coverage. Appreciate that. UK Hudson asking about the super heavy landing, which, again, not really expecting on this flight, so we'll keep an eye down the road on that. Peter, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. Kim, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. And Bin Chicken, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. Here's a question from Gamer Tom asking, do you think they will do a wet dress rehearsal? Adrian, what do you think?
Like right now? Well, basically, if they don't launch, what is a scrubbed launch if not a wet dress rehearsal? So we don't know yet what will be the outcome of this. But it could be, well, depending on how the remaining 1 hour and 15 minutes go. However, we see some sun here, and I'm at least getting more and more optimistic that we might see the launch site soon. Maybe this is me hoping, but I feel like we are also starting to see a bit better at the launch site. That's maybe just me, but I feel like it's getting a bit better.
Yes, and I do want to point out what you heard there in the background. That is the SpaceX launch team confirming that LOX load is underway on the ship. So Ship 24 now being loaded up with supercooled liquid oxygen, or LOXygen as we like to refer to it here. So it seems like at this point everything is continuing to proceed as expected with the timeline. Let's see what else we have here. If we've got any more good questions. Here's one from 530 that's a bit of speculation. Ian, I'll throw this one to you. When do you think we'll see a Starship version with a bigger payload door for big payloads? Because a reminder, the Pez dispenser, quote unquote, on this one is welded shut.
Yes, no, that is a good question. So we don't have any definitive answers on that, but we have seen them make some pathfinders, some payload bay pathfinders. I'm thinking back to SN-17's nose cone, and I believe Ship 23's as well. So they have been trying out a few different designs here and there. Nothing we've seen implemented onto a ship yet. When do I think that will happen? I could see it happening around the end of next year, maybe even the middle of next year. But we are still a while away from them needing that capability. It seems like for the first handfuls of flights of Starships, they're going to be doing a Starlink payload deploy rather than, say, a ComSat deploy, where you would need those larger payload bay doors.
Fantastic. Thank you for answering that as well. And thank you for the question. We are keeping an eye, obviously, looking at the weather at the moment right now. A little foggy, but finally starting to clear. Hopefully clear enough that once this flies, we'll be able to see views of it from the WB-57, which is en route. Now, we've mentioned the WB-57 a couple of times. Adrian, what is the WB-57 and what's its purpose? Wayne is asking.
It's a former bomber that was repurposed as a tracking and camera plane, basically. So it has a very fancy nose cone with a lot of cameras that can do very, very cool tracking and all kinds of different tracking, actually. And it serves, for example, for these kind of events as a possibility to perform some extra visuals for engineering use.
I like that. The camera plane. It sounds like a transformer almost. Let's see. Satronex with the support from Germany. Adrian, you're actually at Starbase right now, but not in Germany. But Germany is keeping its fingers crossed. Jonathan, thank you for the support as well. Jody, thank you for becoming a PadRat member. Froggy watching from Victoria, Australia. Appreciate you continuing to watch. Lackey, thank you very much for the support as well. Paul, thank you for the support. Bradley, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Mike Elliott gifting 20 Red Team memberships. Very much appreciated. Thank you. And if you got one, make sure you say thank you. Nova also becoming a Red Team member. Remind you get access to our multi-view with all of the different cameras that we have down at Starbase, as long as you are Red Team or above, including Bar becoming a Capcom member. And Fur, thank you for becoming a PadRat member, as well as Fatih, thank you for the support. No message, but the support itself is very much appreciated. And Music Duck gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Let's see what other questions we have here. Here's a good one. Aditya asking, why do they throttle down during max Q? I understand it's the max physical force experience, but not sure why it's not built to withstand full throttle. Ian?
Yeah, so it depends on your rocket, actually. Now, some rockets are built and designed to not need to throttle down for max Q. One that comes to mind for me immediately is Antares, which actually underwent a block upgrade specifically designed to enhance its structure to let it go through max Q without throttling down. Now, with something along the size of Starship, where, it's a huge rocket and every kilogram really matters here, there's really not that much of an advantage to strengthen the vehicle enough that it can withstand max Q without throttling down. Because if you strengthen the tanks on the vehicle, Starship would become much heavier. And on this vehicle, every kilogram really counts. SpaceX is trying to save weight in every way that they can. So in theory, they could make it strong enough to withstand max Q, and you would get a little bit of an efficiency boost because rocket engines are a little bit more efficient at full throttle compared to throttling down. but really it's not worth the extra mass that you would need, along with the extra stress you would be putting on the vehicle overall. So that's kind of the trade-off they have to make there.
A trade-off indeed. Let's see, we have another question here that I would like to take really quickly, asking, is Starship better at any front compared to SLS? And I get asked this a lot, I'm sure a lot of people do, of why are we still flying SLS if we have Starship? I want to point out that these programs are so intertwined with each other. Both play a significant role in getting humans back to the moon, and in HLS, the human landing systems. So SLS is being used with the Orion crew module to launch the people. It's also partly being used to launch the lunar gateway that will be orbiting around the moon. And keep in mind, once they use Orion to get to lunar gateway, how are they going to get to the surface? Well, Starship. That is Starship's role in the human landing service. So you've got Orion getting crews out there, and then Starship that will land the crews on the moon. So it's not that one is better than the other. And I really enjoy pointing this out. They are both super intertwined with each other, so the success of one is the success of both. Just wanted to make sure we mentioned that there as well. Let's see. Thomas asking, is this flight carrying anything, like the first Dragon carried cheese or the Falcon Heavy carried Elon Musk's Roadster? Do we know if there is anything on board this one, Adrian?
As far as we know, no, there's not a payload probably. There's always the possibility of something fun loaded here or something we didn't notice, but at least there was nothing confirmed as a payload here for now. So yeah, we need to wait for SpaceX to get to that area where they would show something. However, the complete payload bay is shut and closed, and there's no way that they could deploy something. However, there could be something funny in the nose cone hidden.
We might never know. We'll have to keep an eye out and see if Elon tweets anything special afterwards.
And real quick, I just want to add, actually, we see some crowds here on the beach, but the WB-57 is now in the southern Texas area, so good sign there.
And Adrian, I believe we're going to send it over to you for just a second.
Well, not to me, to actually a person that is standing next to me for a weather update, because I have Adam next to me, which hopefully works now. Hey, Adam.
Hi, Adrian. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. I was just wondering, will we get a better view about this in about an hour from now?
So what we're basically seeing right now is the low-level clouds are starting to break up more, which is good. If that allows some of the sunlight to actually penetrate to the ground, it will start to help improve conditions over the next hour. Now, I'm not expecting just absolutely like Monday where it's crystal clear. We're still going to have some low-level clouds coming in. We have some mid-layer clouds coming in, but they're not a lot. The fog is the main concern. We have 9 miles of visibility currently to try to see through this hazy fog. The humidity is at 97%, super high. So the air's almost fully saturated. Now, as the sun comes up, it does slowly heat up the parcels, and it will help to drop the humidity only by a few degrees. So not major improvements, but as the sun comes up, we are already noticing that we're able to see Starship from our distance, while earlier it was almost very hard to see. So weather conditions will slowly improve over the next hour, but not just crystal clear visibility.
And I also have another update for you, because I can confirm now, I think, that the WD-57 is in the air over us, if I see that correctly, because that should be it. So I can also confirm visual contact on that, which is nice to see here. So yeah, visuals improving. We have a tracking plane in the air. It looks like, everything moving in a good direction here.
We can even start to see the sun peeking through there on the clouds with that gorgeous shot that's up on screen at the moment. The clouds rolling in front of the sun, hopefully burning off all of that extra fog within the next hour and 4 minutes for the opening of the 62-minute window. Again, the T0 is currently scheduled for 8:28 a.m. Central Time, 13:28 UTC, and a big shout out to Michael and his tracking camera there. as well that's getting these fantastic shots, and that will hopefully continue to track through launch. All right, and Adam, I think I've lost my job as the weather person now. That was fantastic, so thank you for that.
Oh, no problem. Came up from McGregor, ready to see them light the candles on this. But yeah, the weather, down here in South Texas around this time of the year, this is very typical. We got lucky on Monday because we had a cold front that came through, cleared the air out. And another cold front will actually come through this area Friday night into Saturday. But currently right now with the fog and the low level clouds, I'm hoping that I'm seeing improvement with the low level clouds even to the south. So the more sun that can penetrate over the next roughly, between now and the launch time will help a little bit more with visibilities. But also another thing is they were talking about shear back on Monday. When I looked over models coming up here in soundings, it looks like the shear is slightly less than what it was on Monday. So if anything weather-wise is related to SpaceX right now, I don't see shear really being a factor as much as we have clouds, and I have no earthly idea what their thoughts are on the clouds that they can launch through, or what they can do with those. So that's something going to be new that we'll have to find out from them.
Right, and I want to point out on the screen, you can see right now the frost rings forming on Ship 24 as the propellant load continues. That is loading in the liquid oxygen and the liquid methane into the vehicle as fueling continues approximately 1 hour before liftoff. Unforgiven, thank you very much for becoming a Red Team member. Ryan, let's go Starship from Falcon 1 to Starship. Io, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Peter, thank you for gifting 5 Red Team memberships. And Hef, thank you for becoming a Red Team member as well. Hef also talking about the WB-57 en route. Johnny, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Amaro, thank you for the support as well. JP, thank you for the kind words about the content. Glad you appreciate it and enjoy it. Chris, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. Donald Brent, thank you as well for your support. Valuable Damage, thank you for becoming Red Team member. Amy, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. Joris, thank you for becoming a Pad Rat member. And Robert, thank you for becoming a Red Team member. I'll catch my breath here a second. As well as a hello from Brazil from Rafael. While we have you, Adam, you said you're from McGregor, so you hear a lot of the testing of these Raptor 2 engines. We hear a lot about the honks when we see them. What is that Raptor honk, and is there any chance we might hear it today?
So that's actually a really good question. We definitely hear the Raptor honk a lot after the engine shuts down. I've never really got confirmation on what makes that noise. I have a theory that it's the turbo pumps spooling down as they spool down at different speeds. That's what I believe what we're hearing. And to hear, hopefully I'm going to say this is I hope not to hear that today, because then that means the rocket didn't launch. So I'm hoping we don't hear that. I hope we just hear the sound of a Raptor, which is even just one listening up in McGregor is very loud. And so 33 of these, I can't wait. I mean, it's going to be loud. I'm sure I can hear it. I can hear one Raptor engine roughly 15 to 16 nautical miles from my house. You can only imagine 33 of these that people will probably hear it. I would assume the same, at least 15 miles out from this area. They'll hear a deep, low rumble as it goes. But I'm hoping not to hear Raptor honks today. I hope it's far enough away that we don't hear it, because we don't want this thing staying on the ground too much longer.
Very well said. I do want to hit 2 more quick super chats here that have been extremely generous. Stellar Surfer, thank you for the $69.42 plus an additional 0 cents. Happy day. Let's go Starship to the Mars and beyond. And Elaine, thank you as well for the very generous $50 super chat. Hoping the fog lifts and you guys can give us a great view of the test launch this morning. Let's hope so. And as we mentioned, this is a test launch, and there has been quite a bunch of testing that has gone on to get to this point. So let's take a look back at what it took to get to this point, going all the way from Starhopper to Hawaii.
my god, it lifted off. Oh my god. Folks, it's going. Look at that.
Now this is the part where SNA breached successfully as well. The next step will be that landing flip maneuver, hoping for a better outcome on SN9's flight.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Whoa!
Oh my god.
There you go.
There's your methane leak.
Yes.
There's your...
Folks.
Boom. Wow. Did it?
Our camera,
It hit the ground. Okay.
our camera flying debris.
Starship heading back to the landing zone.
Look at this! Right here!
Oh my god.
I landed on the hopper!
I love that video. That was so much fun for me to edit and to go back through all the history to get to where we are today. I absolutely love that still. It gives me goosebumps.
Absolutely, Sawyer. I'm 100% with you. By the way, visibility still improving. I just want to point that out. It is getting better.
I like hearing that. And I do want to just point something out here really quickly. As you can see, we have temporarily made this a member chat only. That is due to a 6-figure audience and to protect the chat from being unreadable due to how fast it's running. So just putting that out there so you are aware. Now, I believe we have another voice joining us from the field, who I will hand over the hosting baton to, but will still be staying with you. Jack, are you there?
I'm running, I'm reaching behind me. I'm reaching for the baton from you. I'm grabbing it. Yes, I'm here.
I'm glad I didn't run into your ankles then. We're good.
What's up, everyone? I see we're well into prop load. Everything appears to be going well. The weather is clearing. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Everything looks great. Just under an hour to go, huh?
Jack, I only have a plastic table here. Can I knock on plastic table instead of wood?
Yes, knock on plastic table, Adrian. I give you permission.
I knocked on plastic table.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Excellent. Well, what have I missed? Is there any sort of notable commentary I missed while I was setting up cameras and whatnot?
Only the best commentary team in the biz, which, you know, I guess we can add you in as well. But no, everything has been good. As mentioned, fueling is
looks
underway.
like a Coast Guard helicopter is flying around.
Yup. There it is, again, keeping the airspace clear. A reminder, if you are planning on viewing this launch from the air or from the sea, please triple, quadruple check your NOTAMs and your NOTMARs. We do not want any wayward boats or wayward planes in the launch zone preventing a liftoff. So please double check those keep out zones.
Yeah, no thank you to that, that's for sure.
But otherwise, as you missed, fueling is progressing, it seems like, as planned up till this point. We're starting to see frost rings of both methane and liquid oxygen on Ship 24 and Booster 7 as we approach 54 minutes till the opening of the launch window.
Excellent. Looks like someone's trying to dial in a tracker there. That's going to be sweet for launch. All right. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I wonder who that could be.
Adrian, were you about to say something?
No.
Oh, okay. There we go. There's the tracker going. Love it.
Love the frosty view.
All right. The Oddest Nebula is asking, what is Starship's thrust to weight ratio? It's TWR.
I believe you got it, Adrian?
Yeah, in theory it's 1.5-ish. For this, however, it will be more closer to 1.35, as they are only throttling the engines to about 90% thrust. So they will not reach the thrust-weight ratio that they will probably have on operational flights. So, yeah.
So yeah, we would sort of expect it to come off the pad a little bit slower than subsequent flights. Like, we were sort of thinking it would leap off the pad, but at 1.35, that's about the same as what? A Falcon 9, an Atlas?
I think Falcon 9 is also around 1.5, so...
Okay, so a little bit slower than a Falcon 9. Excellent. Kind of help you guys get your expectations dialed in.
Yeah,
now,
I don't think it's fully SLS slow, but kind of that similar gradual climb, and then it's just gonna shoot, hopefully.
There is a low cloud deck, but it is patchy. So I'm hoping that we get some good views should we in fact get to launch today. T-minus 52 minutes to go. This is what we like to see. Thank you to everybody. You know what? I'm just going to say just a broad thank you, everybody, so much for choosing to watch our stream and for helping out everyone at NASA Spaceflight to bring this event to people around the world. Everyone that's, you know, buying the patches. I see a patch order right there popping up. Everyone that's doing their thing, you know, becoming a member, even if you're not contributing monetarily, if you're just hitting the like button and telling your friends about us, we really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much to everyone for watching our stream. Now, let's get into some more questions. If you have a question that you want to ask, just at NASA Spaceflight in chat, and we will see it, and it'll pop up, and maybe we'll answer it. Let's see. Ma fails here. They're asking, my question is if this Starship was a test flight, then when will SpaceX send an astronaut to Mars after this test? When do we think we will see boots headed towards Mars? Sawyer, I'll let you go first.
I think we may still have a little while to get to that point, especially the fact that the first step is going to be the Human Landing Services Program, HLS, so it's going to be moon first, in your words there. So once they get to that lunar program up and running, then I think we can start considering sending people to Mars. So as of right now, Artemis 3, hopefully before the end of the decade. So hopefully Mars sometime next decade. So I'll go the end of the 2030s, hopefully, fingers crossed.
Adrian, what about you?
Yeah, SpaceX has been more conservative in their timelines for Mars lately, where we have before talked about 2024, which, let's be real, obviously is not happening. It sounds more they are targeting like early 2030s for boots on Mars. With the normal delay of things in spaceflight, I would also go for, if everything goes well, mid to late 2030s.
By the way, while we're talking about the timeline of getting to Mars, I've got a more realistic question. What is the remaining timeline here for today's test flight? If only we knew, Jack.
Adrian, do you want to walk us through the timeline, or maybe I just took that from Sawyer? But let's see here. Adrian, you want to do it, or you want to do it? You want to give it to Sawyer? You can pass, or you can stay.
I'm absolutely staying here on this field. The next thing that would happen is the ship header tank load, which would start at T-minus 27 minutes. Shortly after that, the booster Raptor engine chill will begin, which is where they prepare the engines below the Super Heavy booster and precondition then for lots of cryogenics that will flow through them at ignition. And once that is done, they will start to then get really ready for the count for the final steps. and hopefully we get a liftoff shortly after that.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Oh, goodness. Well, I'm starting to get the pre-launch jitters here. My heart rate is accelerating. I hope everybody out there in TV watching land or YouTube watching land, or if you happen to be at Isla Park or somewhere in the Brownsville area, I hope you are excited as we are. This is getting serious here. Hey, look, it's my feed. I'm sorry it's so shaky. The wind is picking up, but that's my feed. That's my camera view right now. Earlier, maybe 30 minutes ago, it was just completely whiteout conditions. So the fact that we can see the ship, I'm a happy guy. So very, very happy about that. Hopefully it continues to clear. We've got 48 minutes now left in the count. And that's just more and more time for the weather to improve.
And important to note that is to the opening of the 62-minute launch window. So even if the weather is still slightly iffy at 8:28, they have until 9:30 Central Time.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sawyer. I appreciate that. There was a tweet recently from SpaceX, right, that said that they are watching the weather, something along those lines?
Yeah, they're keeping an eye on the weather according to their latest update while fueling is underway.
Alrighty then. Oh, Michael Kevin Sybil, thank you so much. $100 super chat. We really appreciate that. They say, fingers crossed for a launch today. Thank you always for your coverage. Go SpaceX, go Starship. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, Michael Kevin. Really appreciate that. And we have a $50 super chat, too, from E. Peterson. Thank you so much. They say, assuming it's a total success, including reaching the Pacific Ocean off Kauai, what is the next event? I would say doing it again. Right, Sawyer?
Yeah, the next step would be, when can we fly again? So analyzing through all the data, seeing how everything worked, how it flew, of course checking on Stage 0, the ground support equipment, seeing how they handled everything, and then making any necessary upgrades for the next flight, hopefully this year as well.
Fingers crossed. We all want to see this thing get off the pad, launch into orbit, or semi-orbit, or almost orbit, and then hopefully not do too much damage to the pad so that SpaceX can turn around and get the next one launched just as fast as possible. Let's see here. Mohammed is asking, I've always wondered who said the famous words, water tanks or water towers can fly. That was Tim Dodd, Everyday Astronaut. This is DOS's tracker shot here?
Yes,
Excellent.
it is.
Yeah, that audio is because back in the day when Starhopper flew, Tim and I were standing on Andy, Nomad from NSF's roof, watching it happen from Boca Chica Village, and Tim could just not contain his excitement. So his audio is in my video, and I asked him to use it in the intro, and here we are. It's I don't know, it's kind of perfect. I'm pretty happy that event happened. Look at that. I know we don't like the fog, but that's kind of an epic view, right?
It's also getting much better here. I can now confirm from the hotel, we really have a decent view. Like, it's still a bit foggy, it's still a bit occupied, like we still have a bit of fog, but the view is getting better. We now see the ship clearly, we now see the booster clearly, we see Mechazilla clearly, we can see everything here. So everything seems to be trending in a good direction here.
Good, good. That's what we want to see. This is a shot from Michael's tracker. Good stuff. All right. Well, I mean, special thanks to the Margaritaville South Padre for letting you guys up on the roof so that you can shoot this thing. Really good views from the hotel, at least when the weather cooperates, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And also they have been really, really kind to us here. And thanks again for the Margarita. It's really a cool place to be. It's one of the probably best places to view this.
Absolutely. Wait, Adrian, have you ever had a margarita?
Yes.
Are you just saying that so I shut up and move on?
No, it's not a movie.
Good answer.
Good answer indeed. All right, keep your questions coming, everybody. Thank you for joining us once again. This is getting very serious. Just under 45 minutes to go. We are keeping our ears open, keeping our heads to the ground, listening for any updates from SpaceX and hoping to hear more positive news. Definitely looking like they are going for an attempt at, oh my gosh, $500 super chat from Justin. Thank you so much, Justin. That is truly extraordinary. Thank you so much. We take all of the contributions from everybody, whether it's the merch store or otherwise. We take that and we turn it back into more content for y'all. So thank you so much, Justin. There's no words in the English language that I could say that could properly express our appreciation for that level of support. All I can say is that we will turn around, continue doing what we do, and make the best possible content for all of you. Thank you so much, Justin. That is really, truly extraordinary. I'm almost speechless. Just wow. It really is, it means a lot, because it means that we can continue to do what we do. It means that you guys like what we do, and it means that we can continue to add more fun, interesting, and cool shots to our coverage. So just, it's awesome. It's really awesome when we get this sort of support from y'all, because it really does mean a lot. And it, more than, you know, us feeling good or appreciative, it really just means we can keep bettering our coverage, which is absolutely what we all want to do. I mean, I hope everyone here has noticed that we have absolutely pulled out all the stops on this broadcast.
All the stops?
All the stops. There are no stops.
No stops.
There were stops. We took them out for Artemis. We put them back in for Starship, you know, just because we had to have something to take out. And then we took them out again. There are no stops. If you wanted stops, I'm sorry. That's the one thing you can't get from our feed.
Oh my gosh.
I also want to point out here, we are less than a full Falcon 9 countdown away from the potential launch of Starship, because the usually countdown sequence we get, like Falcon 9 with the polling and everything, starts at about 45 minutes. We are down to that, so we are getting close.
Yeah, we are getting very, very close. As a reminder, the opening of the window is 8:28 local time, and that means we are just over 41 minutes away from the start of the window. And Sawyer, how long did you say that window was?
62 minutes, so that I believe will go until 9:30 local time.
Excellent. All right, let's do some more viewer questions, because we love answering your questions here. Remember, if you have any questions, just add us at Spaceflight. We will do our best to answer as many as we can. I think it's Kaleidoscope is what they're supposed to be named. They're asking, when Starship decouples, are all of its 6 Raptor engines going to be ignited, or only the vacuum ones? Sure enough, they're going to ignite all 6, right, Adrian?
They are again igniting all 6. There are some very smart people that did the math about coasting phases and about how much thrust the Raptor has, and did all of that smart things that I can't do. And they came out to be that the only way they reach their current burn time with their current profile is if they ignite 6 Raptor engines, which means 3 sea level engines and 3 vacuum engines. Also, the sea level engines provide thrust vector control, because the vacuum engines cannot gimbal, which means they will probably use these 3 sea level engines for steering in orbit.
Good deal. We have a question from Wicked Clown. Thank you for the question there, buddy. They say, what ship and booster units are complete and could be used for the next launch test after this one? Well, we're looking at Ship 24 and Booster 7 here. Booster 8 was built but then scrapped. So the next booster in line is Booster 9. I swear I didn't mean for that to rhyme. Oh god, it's still going.
Oh, you.
Whenever anyone says "oh you," I just picture that GIF with the guy and the dog.
That's what I'm going for.
Thank you. And so that is what's going on with the booster. Booster 9 is next in line. The next ship in line. Well, okay. So this one's tricky. There is Ship 25, but we're starting to think that it's not going to fly. Sawyer, what's the deal with the next ship in line? What do we think's going on there?
That's a really good question. From what we've heard and what we've seen from all the documentation, at this rate, it seems like they're going to pass over Ship 25, and that Ship 26 would likely be the next ship in line to fly. So it'll be interesting to see what it ends up happening with that, but it seems like 26 will be next up.
Yeah, from some of that documentation that dropped from around the time that SpaceX got the FAA license, it seems like the next two launches after this one will be expendable and doing the same sort of profile and, quote, not configured for orbital reentry. And that would sort of mean Ship 26, because Ship 26 doesn't have flaps, doesn't have tiles, is essentially not configured to re-enter. So that's what the thinking is there. Let's see here. Pixel Gamer 3D is asking about booster recovery. They're asking, will it land on the landing pad or will it land in the ocean freely to be recovered later? Well, sort of neither. The booster is going to ditch into the ocean. It's going to perform a soft landing and then be scuttled. Is that the case, Adrian? That's what's going on with the booster, right?
Yeah, the booster will try to perform apparently a soft landing in the Gulf of Mexico, and then they will try to open the valves to let it sink. And if that doesn't work, they will deploy a fast projectile. They will shoot it to make sure it sinks.
Fair enough. And while we're on the subject, with the ship, what is going to happen with the ship? Sawyer, do we have information on that? I know we do, but I'm going to ask you like as if I don't know that.
Well, that's a great question. Yes, we do. The ship is going to, once it separates, attempt to perform a boost back burn, where it will reorient itself to try and bring it back near Starbase, and is expected to land about 31 kilometers off the coast from where it took off. And by land, I mean hit the water and hopefully also end up destroyed.
So, Adrian, we have a question here from Happy Cappy. They're asking, can you see the park from the roof of the Margaritaville? Is it as crowded as Monday?
Let me have a look, actually. Oh, what is super interesting is actually the beach at the very far side of the park, like to the left of us. You can see like a line of people standing at the beach. And yes, it seems to me like everything is very crowded. I even see people still going into the park. So yes, it's definitely still very crowded. And I cannot say if it's more or less, but there are definitely people still going to the beach. They're still looking for good spots to view this. Yeah, we are definitely for a lot of excitement in here.
I think we got a couple of shots over towards the jetties. I assume you can hear me.
Yes, we can,
we can hear you.
Excellent. How y'all doing?
We're doing good, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, we have all of our cool toys set up on the roof of the Margaritaville Resort over here, and we're waiting to see what's going to happen in just over 30 minutes. Does it look like it's going to go?
Good deal. You don't think so? You're being sarcastic?
I mean, no, does it look like literally, from all y'all have been watching, it's going to go?
Well, we just got a tweet from Elon saying that Starship is on track to launch in about 37 minutes, and that was 2 minutes ago. So it seems like it.
There you go. That seems like a good plan to me. How has the stream been going so far? How does chat feel, I wonder?
Going good. Chad, how has the stream been going so far? Are you pleased with what you've been gotten? Oh God, I can't talk.
Are you pleased?
This is what happens when I stay up all night with no sleep.
Are you not
satisfied? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you beat me to it. And I butchered it. Okay, let's see here. Cody G's asking, any sort of possibility SpaceX put some sort of protective fairing on the tower arms? Hydraulic and electrical harnesses seem very vulnerable to engine wash. Adrian, what do you think?
Yeah, the tower in general seems to me like it's sometimes a bit exposed. I especially think about the cables.
Oh, there we go.
Hello? Good evening.
Just fine to me.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, it sounded to me
okay,
like
I think,
it looks
Adrian,
to me
I think we're getting a little bit of choppy comms from you there.
I believe that would be from your end, Jack. At the moment, everything else sounds
All
okay.
Right,
Adrian, go ahead.
Huh. Okay,
Okay.
my bad. I'm sorry for talking over you then, Adrian.
Yeah, it looks like to me that. Oh god, I think Jack is on a very high delay.
Let's.
Yes. What were you
Okay.
saying, Adrian?
I was just saying that the cables are look a bit exposed to me on the chopsticks. That's the main thing I'm a bit worried about, and I was wondering if they would at some point protect them a bit more, because like these main cables are just dangling around there in this air which is kind of filled with salt water. So by experience of a lot of people, salt water usually doesn't do that well with anything that should last long.
I can say that from experience, having parked my car near the beach many times. The rust is real.
Yeah, every time I drive through the water on the beach, I'm always like, oh God, please, chassis, hold strong.
Oh, can only imagine, especially with the miles you put on that to make it out to Starbase and back.
270,000 is what I just hit on this most recent trip. 270,000 miles.
Wow. Speaking of big numbers,
Go for it.
I said, speaking of big numbers, we're getting some amazing support from some people through Super Chats. If I can just acknowledge two of them really quick, and I'll pass it back to you. Russell Snodgrass with the very poetic $247, which is amazing. The explanation behind it says it feels like we've been waiting 24/7 to see 24 and 7 fly. I'm ready to party with bacon, blackjack, and boosters, we'll say, is the third one. So thank you so much for the extremely, extremely generous support on that. And Chris Galucci, mucho apreciado to you as well for the $50 super chat. Very, very kind.
Indeed, and I got to thank Russell Snodgrass for showing up so often with the high dollar super chats and for the awesome Futurama reference. Let's see here. How about we could do this one for Sawyer? Robert Kepler is asking, why is maximum dynamic pressure called max Q?
That's a good question. It's all related to physics terminology. Again, when it comes to dynamic pressure in the equation, I believe that is Q. Dynamic pressure Q is equal to 1/2 PV squared when it comes to fluid dynamics. So
Beach is on LTE. I've got it on point to point 2, but should we?
But yes,
As we have a hot mic.
Dynamic pressure is called Q in the equations. So yeah.
Oh, good time.
It's max Q.
All right. Thank you for that, Sawyer. Let's see here. I'll do a couple more questions, then I'll jump off. Let's see. Nadine is asking, how wide do the chopsticks go on lawn, or are you see the chopsticks the width of the chop?
Well, we seem to be losing you again, Jack. But I'll take over the answer for that while we got your robotic. Yeah, the chopsticks, as you see them now, are in their open position for launch. So, yeah, expect to continue to see the chopsticks like you see them right now as we continue closer to T0. Hopefully, the only time we would see them close in again would be... the only time we would see them close in again would be if there was no launch attempt today. So let's hope that's not the case.
I'm confused. People don't want to know when we're changing network things.
Oh, I mean, we all do, but you know,
that's not an interesting bit of fact for chat. Back me up here. There's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. Oh yes, now my friend is texting me. Whatever, Peter. That there's a hot mic. Your text is very slow. Jack, I think, was out there and had some pretty unstable signals, so we're gonna see if we could get Jack rerouted around. But Sawyer, how are we looking with the time here? Super chats?
Well, at this point, things are looking pretty good. We are now less than 30 minutes away from the opening of the window, which is the current targeted time for T0. Boy, that's a mouthful there. 8:28 a.m. Central Time, 13:28 UTC. They are trying for the opening of the 62-minute window. So we are getting that much closer now to hopefully the first ever liftoff of the fully integrated Starship stack here. And it is getting really, really exciting. So at this point, the fuel loading has been continuing for quite a while, and you can see the crowds now finally starting to gather along the beach there, hopefully waiting to see the launch, which I know one of the concerns has been the fog. How's the visibility there right now, Adrian?
It is... it is better than it was. Like... we see, the funny thing is we see blue sky right over us. Like there's a lot of blue sky right above us, but it seems like the more we go to the pad, the less blue sky there is. So it's getting better. We see the rocket at this point, which is actually not that common for this night so far. But yeah, it could be better. There's still some very like limited views here going on the way to the pad. But it's getting there. I mean, I would agree with Das wording. It's
I want to believe in the blue skies above us. Like the sun is trying so hard to burn through. We've got that aerostat that's up above us as well, and we can see it every now and then. The clouds sort of part and we can see it, but Starbase itself is not a great shot from over here. Now, I imagine whenever Starship takes off, we'll be able to see at least some flames from this side, but we'll see what we get here in just a few minutes.
Yes, the one benefit, though, to that kind of fog cover, honestly, is the fact that you hopefully will get great sound from those 33 Raptor engines, so that'll also be exciting to hear.
That's like a really bad consolation prize, honestly. Like, I think we all want to see the Starship go today. We can hear it go another time, you know?
Would you rather me gift you a toaster instead as a consolation prize?
That would be even worse. So let's not gift any toasters, please, Sawyer.
Deal. All right. Let's see as we are continuing along here. Here's actually an interesting question of asking who is on site right now. Das, who's with you right now at the moment on site?
Well, I've got Michael sitting right next to me. We got 2 tracking bots using Michael's software here, and then Adrian's right behind me. And we have a whole slew of people. Oh, there's my mom. Hi, Mom. My wife is here as well. I don't think that's what you were asking, but that's who's here right now.
Fantastic. And yes, hello to Das's mom there as well.
Yeah, she's here. Hey, Mom, you want to say hi to like a lot of people? No, you got to talk into the mic.
Hi, a lot of people.
That's my mom, y'all.
There you go. You can see the frost continuing to rise up both the booster and, as you can see right there, up the ship as well. Reminder, those are being filled with liquid methane and liquid oxygen, and those are likely expected to continue filling, according to our timeline, till about T-minus 5 minutes, because we, again, are talking about 4,600 tons worth of propellants that need to be loaded into this whole vehicle to get it up to that full fuel load, which still blows my mind occasionally. Let's see. Any other questions that we've got coming in here? Let's see. We've got a question here from Vivid Knight saying, will SpaceX dive underwater at the expected landing spot to learn what they can from the craft remains? So what's basically the plan here post splashdown for both of these vehicles? Adrian?
The plan is there's no plan. Since both of them will not probably... the plan is for them both to sink. And after that, SpaceX is basically done with this vehicle. They will look at the data, they will look at what they learned, and once they did that, they then can move to the next step, which will be probably Ship 26 and Booster 9.
There we go. And we are getting word that the header tank fueling is underway aboard Ship 24 on this vehicle. Which, here's a good question. What is the header tank used for, and why are they fueling for this flight if they're not really going to be using it, Adrian?
They will use the header tank not in this flight. It's probably more test the whole sequence situation, but the header tank in the ship would be used usually for the landing burns, which will not happen. The reason they have this in the header tank is because if you have it in the normal tank, you can imagine having a ship in a horizontal configuration and then slashing it around to a vertical configuration results in a lot of fuel going all over your tank. So you want to have it compressed in a certain space, which is the header tanks. The header tanks are exactly for the landing, which since the ship will not perform a landing burn this time, it's probably, yeah, a flow thing. They want to test it.
There you go, and at the same time, you also get a full balance of the vehicle in terms of mass load and weight distribution and things like that. So it's also a good test of just all of the systems on board and the fact that you've got your centers of thrust, weight, etc., all where they need to be.
So yeah, do I see that correct, that we are 23 minutes away from a potential Starship launch?
You are correct. 23 minutes approximately away from the opening of the window. And the last that we heard is what SpaceX is targeting for this is the top of this launch window. My gosh, this is exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I did see a question here. Someone was talking about the engine wiggle. We had a little bit of engine wiggle even though they didn't actually launch last time. So why do they wiggle the engines?
They wiggle the engines to test out the thrust vector control, because these engines on the way up to space need to perform a series of like little wiggles, little maneuvers to steer the rocket. So you want to make sure that the system to steer the engines works on the ground before you notice in air that's not working. So that's the reason why they test that. That's not the only thing they test. They probably test like every single movable surface at some point and make sure it works.
Exactly. Keep an eye on that. And again, this one is using hydraulic thrust vector controls. In the future, they will be using electric thrust vector controls once we get to Ship 9 and beyond. Molten Lava Guy with a really good follow-up question saying, if they're not using the headers, shouldn't they just fill it with liquid nitrogen instead? And I think that comes down to kind of what we were hinting at a bit there, the fact that if that's the case, you want the exact mass balance across the vehicle. You would want the exact mass that you would have for a normal flight, so you can figure out that center of thrust, center of weight, or center of mass, excuse me, everything that way. So you get the exact measurements and an exact proof of concept for your vehicle and the test flight. All right, we are joined by another voice who will be with us here as we enter the final 20 minutes, hopefully, of this count. Ian Atkinson, are you with us again?
I am with you again, and I am super excited to, as we get closer and closer to T0 here. So yeah, I am back, and I am starting to get really, really hyped here.
This is really exciting. Again, it's a good thing we don't have heart rate monitors hooked up to us live, because it's going to start going up from now on. While I have you, here's another question while we were talking about the thrust vector control and the wiggle before flight. Does the ship also do a TVC checkout and that little wiggle test before liftoff?
So the ship does do a TVC checkout, much like the booster. We don't know exactly when that takes place, and unfortunately, we really don't have any visual of that. But yes, the ship does do a TVC checkout of its 3 inner Raptor engines, the Raptor sea levels.
There we go. So that will be something that we keep an eye out for as we progress in the timeline now into the final 20 minutes approximately of the count. A reminder for those trying to schedule your clocks, the launch is scheduled for 8:28 a.m. Central Time, that's 13:28 UTC, and that is scheduled for the top of the 62-minute window. At this point, it seems like everything is progressing towards the countdown. It seems like right now, at this very moment, the weather appears to be green and the range appears to be green as well. So as of now, everything progressing towards that liftoff in about 20 minutes.
The visibility over on our end continues to be meh, though. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, it's better than nothing. We went from nothing to meh. So that's an upgrade. I'm not sure where exactly that is on the scale, but it's better than nothing.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, we can make out the frost on the ship. Like over here from the roof of the hotel, we can see there's like the sun shining on the frost on the side of the ship. We can see the venting down low. I mean, the tower and the Starship stack sort of loom as a big sort of silhouette. But I wonder, I really do hope, like if we look up above, the skies above the launch pad are more and more blue. And I can really see Starship sort of lifting out of this ground layer of moisture up into the blue sky, and then it's going to go downrange into the sun, and I don't know if anybody will see it then, but you know something? If they're all go, I have a feeling that we would be able to see it punch out of the like low-lying fog here. Anyways, I am hoping it goes. Adrian, you hoping it goes?
I am hoping it goes. I really think I mean, it just feels like the day it should go. Like, I don't know. I hope. And also, I'm entering the phase again where I start to lose my ability to form cohesive sentences. So enjoy that.
He's standing up and like moving around a lot, like a chipmunk or something. I don't know, Adrian. This is a squirrel. I'm not sure, but Adrian has a lot of energy right now. Look at this shot from the south camera. Wow.
And we have an update from SpaceX. Weather looking good. Winds below limits, so good to go. Teams aren't working. Any issues?
Nice.
So right now, no issues tracked for launch.
Excellent.
Oh,
That's what we
wow.
like to hear. It's one
That's
of those
a
things.
real thing.
By the way, Adrian, it's one of those things where there are certain times when you're at a launch, I can say this at least from my experience, where you go to a launch, it's like, I don't feel like it's going to go today, and then it ends up scrubbing for some reason. And then there are some where you're just there, and I'm like, I know it's going to go today. I have this gut feeling. Is that kind of the vibe you're getting?
I don't want to jinx it, but yeah, I have the gut feeling it goes today.
We're under 20 minutes. We're what, 17 minutes now?
Yep. And as you
Coming
just
up on
heard,
it.
as you just heard from the update there, that everything is proceeding, everything is green, including the weather at the moment. And the latest update from SpaceX is that Starship's Raptor engines are chilling down in preparation for liftoff. So, Ian, why do they have to chill the engines?
Yeah, so they chill the engines to prevent a thing called thermal shock at ignition. So, of course, these engines are using cryogenic propellants, meaning they're extremely, extremely cold, as in like negative 170 degrees Celsius. And because of that, they need to slowly start trickling in propellants to begin slowly cooling down the engines. Now, the reason they do that, like I said, is to prevent thermal shock. Now, if right at startup they suddenly just pummeled the engine with cryogenic propellants, that extreme change from, the about 30 degrees Celsius down there in Texas to, negative 170 degrees Celsius, that could crack the engine. At the very least, it would cause a lot of fatigue on it. And so to prevent that, they begin slowly chilling it down so it's not a sudden rush of chill at ignition. You could think about it like if you have a very, very, very hot, say like a hot piece of food or some hot liquid, you don't want to immediately pour that onto a cold plate or a cold mug because that could crack it from thermal shock. And it's the same thing here.
Exactly. And while we have a moment here, let's take a look at the timeline that still remains here. We are currently, as we mentioned, in that engine chill, as just confirmed by SpaceX. The next thing that we should expect will be the call out that the prop load is complete aboard the ship. And that is expected about 5 minutes before the scheduled T0, followed 2 minutes later by booster prop load being completed. There will then be a fluid interface vent down sequence 40 seconds before launch, and we are expecting the go for liftoff about 30 seconds prior to that T0, with the Raptor startup sequence beginning somewhere between 6 to 8 seconds before liftoff, or at least hopefully liftoff, if nothing else. Excitement guaranteed when we hit T0. All right, taking a look now, the vehicle continues to be frosty at the moment. Adrian, you feeling the excitement now?
I mean, we are less than 15 minutes away from a potential attempt, and based on what SpaceX is saying, no issues are right now being worked on. We are, like, they're working no, nothing. They just need to perform this countdown now, and then we are getting to the really, really crucial point, which is engine ignition, where we hope to see 33 Raptor engines ignite at the same time, performing well, and then we see this thing go.
Exactly. Now, Adrian, this is your first launch. Das, you've seen quite a few. How are you feeling ahead of this one?
I've seen a couple launches, but I'm ready for this thing to go. This is something we've all been working on for so time. Wow, I can't even talk. So long of a time, and we put so much work into being able to share this with people all around the world. And this is sort of go time for us. This is what we've been building on for literally years. Like not just, oh, we showed up yesterday, we're going to show some stuff, right? We are ready to share this with the world. So the cellular network is not doing well right now. The cellular network is like tanking across the board. And luckily it looks like our stuff is still holding pretty steady. But I am ready for this thing to go. I do want to say real quick, Sawyer, this is the part of the stream, like I'm looking at the panel and so many people have so many nice messages, joining the membership program, getting access to the multi-view, people even following the channel. Like if you like our sort of commentary, you have fun with this sort of stuff. There was a shout out to 2 kids, Jude and Jaina. There you go. Can watch at home this morning. So many people sending in so many messages. There's no way we can get to all of them. But across, the scroll bar is the tiniest scroll bar I've ever seen. But across the board, every single person who showed up to the stream to make this possible, and not just this stream, but every stream in the past, all the way back to the roadside rocket science, Texas tank watching days. Thank y'all so much for being a part of this and sharing this with us. This is just too cool. Sawyer, I'm just going to keep talking. So anyways, there are all sorts of ways that y'all can be involved with this. You can just watch the stream. You can like and subscribe the channel, whatever kids are doing these days, that sort of thing. Remember, we have our shop too, shop.nasaspaceflight.com. You can get t-shirts and mugs. I don't know how many patches we have left because they've been going like crazy today. We have the t-shirts and the new Raptor style patch t-shirts and hoodies and things. So anyways, if you're interested in helping us continue this on. This isn't our last Starship launch. This is our first Starship launch. We're going to be here with you. So check out our shop. Be here in the chat. Ask cool questions. There's Stormhound with $50 Australian. Much love from Australia. Just all around the board. Y'all make this possible. Thank you so much for showing up and, well, like and subscribe or whatever.
Exactly. Perfectly well said. And yes, shop.nasaspaceflight.com is a great way to show your support and get something in return as well. And that you get the awesome, as you mentioned, that patch designed by Pauline, which is phenomenal. We also have the pre-orders for our full stack plushie, which hopefully you'll be able to recreate the flight, which is currently scheduled to take off about 11.5 minutes from right now.
Sawyer, the 22-inch plushie.
Oh, yes.
Like the plushie's almost 2 feet tall.
It's insane. Yes, that's 55 centimeters or 5 to 6 bananas tall. It's unbelievable.
Anyways, let's talk about rockets. I feel like I'm on the shopping channel now.
You got it. All right. At this point, the fueling continues to load. You can see that frost on the outside of the booster. So, Ian, is that frost normal? And how is that an indicator of how we're doing in terms of fueling here?
Yes, so first off, that frost is completely normal, and that happens on really most rockets and really every rocket dealing with cryogenic propellant, so nothing out of the ordinary there. It's just plain water ice on the side. Now that is actually a great indicator of propellant loading. Now you can see if we're looking specifically at the booster, around the middle of the booster, you can see a small section of exposed stainless steel. Now that is actually unfilled areas of the liquid oxygen propellant tank. And that shows that as of right now, they are not fully loaded of propellants on the booster. Now towards the top of the booster as well, you can see a bit of a gap under the grid fins and above that upper frost line. That again shows that the methane tank is not fully loaded. Now, sitting at just over T-minus 10 minutes right now, that is not an issue that they're not fully loaded. They're going to continue loading some propellants over the coming minutes, just until the very, very last few minutes before launch. So all seems to be on track there. But yes, the frost lines, like you said, Sawyer, are a visual indicator of how much propellant is in the tanks.
Update here from SpaceX. Oh, you want to take it, Adrian?
Get it.
The update is that the booster hold-down arms have been unlatched and configured for retract at liftoff. The chip QD arm also configured for liftoff. And right now, SpaceX is also tracking no range violations. Everything looks good.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
How is that possible? How is that possible?
Yeah.
Yeah, a reminder, the range is not just weather, that's also potential wayward airplanes or boats that may go into any of the keep-out zones, so it's good to know that people are continuing to follow all of the notices. Looks like everything now continuing to go well so far. We also see a lot of that at the bottom of the rocket there from all the fuel farms, the that sort of venting, and the venting is normal, right?
Normal again.
Everything is normal. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yep, all good.
Everything is normal. Everything we see right now is normal. Nothing is, based on what SpaceX is saying, nothing is out of the ordinary. Nothing is being watched. There are no items they are looking at. There's no range violation. Right now, everything is on track.
Are things clearing up a little bit for your view, Adrian?
I would still go with the DAS quoted meh.
It's tough. I mean, we're 6 miles away here. We're on top of the Margaritaville Resort, South Padre Island. The fine folks at the hotel really did help us out. We have like an entire command center. We're going to be posting some of this stuff in the members content. Heck, we'll post some of this on Twitter so y'all can see our mass of wires up here. But we have the biggest cameras that we had available here looking at it, and we are going to see what we see and honestly hear what we're going to hear at 6 miles away.
Exactly. As we reach about 8 minutes or so now until the scheduled T0 time of 8:28 a.m. Central. Reminder, the fueling is expected to continue on until at least T-minus 5 minutes for the ship, and then T-minus 3 minutes for the booster, as the vehicle is loaded with 4,600 tons of liquid oxygen and liquid methane propellants that will fuel this vehicle. What other major milestones should we be looking out for at this point? Anything else that visually will be a good indicator of where we're at here?
The rocket to launch.
Well, what SpaceX just confirmed is they are pressurizing the ship tanks and they are closing out propellant load on the header tanks, which will finalize everything regarding prop load. After that, the vehicle is tanked. After that, they are good to go.
Yes, and we're also hearing that closing out prop load on the header tanks, which would normally be used for the flip and belly flop maneuvers for the ship if it were going to attempt to be landed or recovered. Again, that will not be used on this flight. It is just going to splash down into the Pacific Ocean near Kauai and Hawaii. So that's worth noting that neither of these are set to be reused. Booster 7 will perform a boost back burn after launch, after it finishes its main push into flight, and then splash off the coast of Boca Chica, and that ship will continue to fly and land, not necessarily in one piece, near Hawaii. Look at this gorgeous view that we're getting from above as we get into this final part of the count here. Also,
and just to point out, we are 6.5 minutes away from T0.
Yes, things are looking relatively fully fueled almost at this point. And as mentioned, the ship tanks are being pressurized. Why is that important that we pressurize the tanks to flight pressure? Ian?
Yeah, so you got to pressurize your tanks to flight pressure because the tanks are really your structure of your vehicle. To have them pressurized makes the vehicle rigid and not crumple during flight. Think of it like a soda can. When it's pressurized and it's sealed, it's strong, but when you open it and depressurize it, it becomes weak.
There you go. The next major milestone that we should be approaching at T-minus 5 minutes will be the fuel load complete in the ship. In the meantime, we are taking a look now at some of the 33 Raptor V2 engines underneath Booster 7. Reminder that there is one ring that does not gimbal or move. The rest of them will actually swivel using thrust vector control, TVC, which will help steer the vehicle on its way up to orbit.
For some definition of orbit.
Well, yes, on its way into space at least, with a projected altitude from our understanding of 250 kilometers up, although they will not complete a full orbit circle of the Earth on this flight. As mentioned, the end zone for the ship itself will be near Hawaii.
It's orbit-inspired. It's orbit-esque.
Orbit-inspired, I like that.
Orbit-ish.
Orbit-ish, there you go. That's a good one.
There you go. We are approaching under 5 minute mark now.
Under 5 minutes for the launch of the Starship Super Heavy system.
Side note, that's under 300 seconds. Just you're very we are basically down to a TV commercial, like TV commercial block at this point.
I know we are getting close to letting you guys go to watch and view and enjoy the launch. So, any final words ahead of liftoff here?
I just wanted to go, and that's all I say. And then I will now step aside and watch this.
Das, final thoughts?
This is going to be for real, y'all. We've been waiting for this for the longest time, and whatever happens, what did SpaceX say? Excitement guaranteed. One way or the other, something's going to happen here. I hope we get some fire. I hope we get some liftoff, and I hope this thing goes down range. So y'all have fun with it. We'll be here watching and using the cameras to help share it with everybody around the world. Thank y'all for making this possible, though.
Yes, thank you, Das. And at this point, closing out of prop load on the booster per SpaceX at this point. So prop load should be complete at this point, basically, on the booster itself. The next call should be the confirmation that they are closing out the prop load on ship 24 at the top as well, as they get fully fueled with liquid methane and liquid oxygen. Ian, how are you feeling at this point, excitement-wise?
I am physically shaking, if that's any indication.
I'd say that's a very good indication then, as we continue.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And yeah, we're seeing some final venting from the vehicle. We start to see that wind down, excuse me, over the coming few minutes until T-minus 40 seconds when they go for the final pressurization of the vehicle.
Exactly. As everything gets ready to go for flight, we should get that official go for flight at T-minus 30 seconds. The other things that they've been testing, as you mentioned, the thrust vector control, making sure the engines can wiggle and steer the vehicle as it climbs its way up on its trajectory. We should be seeing fuel loads completing there. You can see a last little vent there at the bottom of the orbital launch mount, which means I believe that should be a good indication that booster propellant load is complete, and we do have confirmation of that from SpaceX. Booster propellant load is complete. That means at this moment, Starship is fully loaded with all of the propellants it needs for an on-time liftoff. You can still hear occasional venting from the vehicle and from the tank farm. Again, those noises are completely normal and expected, so don't be surprised. There is a lot of venting that goes on with the vehicle as well to try and even out the pressures inside of all of the tanks. So if you see little vents of some kind coming out from the booster or the ship, that is completely normal as well, again, to even out the pressures to the correct flight pressure. And once in flight, those same vents are used as thrusters to help maneuver. We are coming up now on under 2 minutes until liftoff here. It is getting real, and it is getting close.
It really is. Now, coming up in less than a minute right now, we're going to stop venting on the vehicle as they begin to seal up the tanks, get it fully ready at flight pressure, and basically just get ready for launch. It's coming up in about 40 seconds right now.
And a reminder, we will let you enjoy the launch as we get closer to it. In the meantime, we will continue to update you just until liftoff here. We're getting confirmation from SpaceX that the automated flight termination system is armed. So at this point, if anything were to go wrong with the vehicle, the onboard computers can detonate the flight termination system in the event of some form of anomaly. But at this point, all continuing as planned, under 1 minute. We are getting word from SpaceX there is a potential hold at T-minus 40 seconds. It is possible. We will keep an ear out if that is the case or not. We are in a short hold at this point. According to SpaceX, there will be a very short hold here at T-minus 40 seconds. Correction, they are going through. They are continuing through with the count. No hold. We are on our way to liftoff. And with that, we'll let you enjoy. And we are now being told that there is indeed a hold in the count. The flight director has called a hold, is the word on the net at the moment. So we are standing by. It is 8:28. It is the opening of the 62-minute window, which is what they were originally targeting. So again, they do have 62 minutes to continue to try and attempt this launch. But as of this moment, the flight director in the Launch Control Center has called a hold ahead of the original scheduled launch time of 8:28 a.m. Central Time. We are waiting for official word on the reason behind the hold and the plans of if they will continue into this window. Ian, there's a lot of things that have to go right for this to lift off.
Yes, absolutely. There's a lot of things that need to go right, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Of course, they seem to have found a minor issue here. They are doing a slight hold now. We don't know the exact length of the hold, but they're doing some final checkouts, making sure that everything is on track for liftoff. Again, we will update you as soon as we get a new T0, but again, we are in a minor hold right now, just ahead of liftoff.
Exactly. And as mentioned, the window continues until 9:30 a.m. local time. So that is, I believe, 14:30 UTC. So we still have about an hour for them to figure it out. And it is important to note that at this point, it is a hold, not an abort. So they have not called off the final attempt. There is still a chance they will go today. And the word that we are hearing now is that the hold is currently in place for final launch checkouts. That is the word from SpaceX, that they are completing final launch checkouts in this hold. So again, that does not tell us exactly how long this hold will be and at what point we will pick up the count. Apparently, we are being told that up to this point, they said they can hold for up to 15 minutes at this particular point right now. That is the word we are hearing from SpaceX themselves. So we have about 15 minutes for them to figure this out and perform these final launch checkouts that resulted in this hold. As soon as we hear anything additional, we will update you right away.
Sawyer, I had to jump in real quick. Can you imagine like somebody out there that's like triple, quadruple, quintuple, however many times they would check the list, and then like actually pressing the button or just letting it go forward? It's not really pressing a button to launch the rocket, right? But can you imagine being that person?
Going to interrupt you really quick. We have confirmation from SpaceX that it was a booster pressurization issue that has since been resolved, and at this point they are working on final purging on ship 24.
All right.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Das, but yes, I can only imagine having to make that call. To be that guy that has to call the hold. But then again, as we've said, scrubs not ruds, or you'd rather be on the ground wishing you were in the air than in the air wishing you were on the ground.
Yeah, and it's always it's good to show their engineering process that they're willing to pause the countdown and willing to lose a few minutes here just to double check everything.
Yep, and go ahead, Dustin.
Sawyer, I understand. No, I understand being safe, but at some point somebody's got to tell it to go. Like, you can only check it so much, you can only look so many times, and at some point, the rocket has to fly. It may be today, we'll see, but I'm going to go back to staring at my tracking screen here.
Sounds good, yes. We should get the clock resuming shortly. From my understanding, I believe it will resume at T-minus 40, at the T-minus 40-second mark, waiting on official confirmation from that. But again, it appears that any issue they just had in the countdown has been resolved. Ship undergoing its final purge, with the count set to resume shortly here. As you mentioned, this is a good way to test their engineering features, and an important reminder, this is a test flight. So there is a potential for things to go wrong. There are the potential for these holds. So it is important to note that this is a test. So, Ian, there's a lot of things that could come up that we might not expect, hence the unique name for T0, right?
Exactly, yeah. The SpaceX is saying excitement guaranteed for T0. We don't know what'll happen once those Raptors ignite. They especially don't know what happened, what's going to leave the pad. And we are now out of the hold now.
Flight directors, go for launch. We are counting down. So at this point, we should be, I believe, approximately 30 seconds away, or 10 seconds. Wow, the sound from that, unbelievable. We are getting confirmation on that liftoff. As of this very moment, 5 Raptor engines have flamed out, so they are currently running on, that would be 28 engines as we pass through max Q, maximum aerodynamic pressure on the vehicle.
Gorgeous shots there, the vehicle going supersonic through max Q right there. Beautiful shot cone.
Exactly. Again, this was one of the biggest potential stress points on the vehicle, and so far proceeding. And at this point, it is running on 28 of its 33 main Raptor engines. Vehicle continuing up. 6 engines have currently been out on this flight so far. The next major event would be... sorry, correction, 5. The next major event will hopefully be the separation of the first and second stages, the ship and the booster, and a potential boost back burn on that first stage. The vehicle appears to be turning.
Over.
There we go. There's another view. As of this point, it is continuing on the flight, although it definitely appears that engines are out. The last confirmation was at least 5 Raptor engines are out.
We can see the vehicle is seeming to rotate.
Yeah, there appears to be a spin as the Raptor engines appear to continue to be firing. But yeah, this is indeed a noticeable spin that can be seen from our tracking camera here. At this point, we are continuing just to report off of the data that we have at the moment. No other speculations at this point, other than we have the confirmation at least 5 of the Raptor V2s went out on Booster 7, and our cameras are showing this spin of Booster 7 and Ship 24. And again, a reminder, this is a test flight, so there is always the chance that something can go wrong. And that appears like the automated flight termination system has been activated.
Vehicle's broken up there, ending today's test flight, but still a great load of data for teams to go through, without a doubt.
Exactly. And again, that explosion that you saw is the flight termination system. We have confirmation that was the flight termination system that was ignited, destroying Ship 24 and Booster 7 mid-flight. So at this point, we have our tracking cameras continuing to see what we can remaining of the vehicles. There is a look, though, at the team inside SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, which, again, a reminder, this is a test. So the fact that it cleared the tower and Stage 0 is still standing, the ground support equipment, I think is a huge success. You can see Elon there in the front of those screens. It looks like at the Launch Control Center. So it cleared the tower, and the launch pad is intact.
Excellent.
So that is huge, and it made it pretty far into flight. I think those are still significant milestones. Look at that view. We have the fuel farm, the orbital launch mount, and the launch tower intact in one piece. That right there is huge. So even though we may have lost the vehicle, we have proof there that the ground support equipment can be saved, has been saved, and as a result will hopefully mean quicker turnarounds once they figure out what happened with this vehicle.
Exactly. We could see a bit of damage there on the cladding on the tower. Again, does not look unrepairable by any means. So yeah, great outcome here. A lot of great data for teams to go through. And again, that was their primary purpose of the flight today, was just to gather some data. How does this vehicle perform? And undoubtedly, they have a lot of work to do over the next few weeks and months.
Let's send it over to the teams that are down at Starbase right now for a reaction. I believe we have Adrian and Das on comms right now. What do you think of Das?
Like forcibly on comms. That was the most Kerbal launch I have ever seen. The sound was insanity over here. I mean, we're 6 miles away, and I felt like it was getting hotter. I don't know if it was just the sound was shaking me so much or the sun came up from behind a cloud, but as the rocket was going up, I felt like it got hotter over here. I think it might just be like sort of psychosomatic deal, but good grief. Adrian, are you still here?
Some sort, yeah.
We don't have your
That
mic
was
plugged in there, Adrian.
amazing.
Oh, man.
Wait, I'm not.
Having a hard time hearing you, although we did hear the part that says, this is amazing. I am excited to hear your thoughts again, because this was your first ever launch, and it just so happened to be of the most powerful rocket on the planet.
Yeah, I think I grabbed the wrong headset while I was a bit too excited.
We got you now.
Yeah, that was amazing. I still have to see like I think 500 replays before I understand what I just saw, but that was beautiful. Like the smoke cloud from I'm lost for words.
We still have the smoke cloud up, like the huge cloud that's over Starbase. You can see it over the production site. I think that is all from the liftoff. I've never seen such a huge, persistent plume before in my life. You know what we need to do? We need to check in with Jack. I don't know if Jack is going to have comms right now. Jack,
I'm here.
Are
Can
you
you hear
here?
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh my God. That was the craziest thing I've ever experienced in my entire life. Like everything was shaking. The earth was shaking. My cameras were shaking. If you took my feed at any point during that and it was just jello, I sincerely apologize. But that was beyond just, I have no words. Like we saw ignition, we saw the dust cloud, we were all expecting, and at that point my eyes were just on the top of the vehicle, just watching and waiting and hoping to see it start to move off the pad, and sure enough, you start to see it climb. I can't even talk. I'm sorry. You can see it climb off the pad, and it did kind of a I don't even know, a tower avoidance maneuver. I don't even know what you. Yeah,
I
that
also
was
saw. I
insane.
think.
Yeah.
Jack, I also think I saw multiple raptors flaming out because you could see while it climbing, like it suddenly just started to emitting like a red flame, and I think there was just raptors flaming out. I don't know. This was like yeah. Sorry.
Okay, so I have to confess, from my perspective, it was mostly an auditory experience. It climbed into clouds almost immediately. But here's the thing. It was amazing. I mean, I'm looking at a photo. I'm editing a photo right now, and it's utterly insane. I'm so beyond happy with how that went. But when I mentioned that it was an auditory mostly experience, I say that because, you know, I wasn't able to watch the stream. I wasn't able to see anything that was going on beyond what was in front of my own face. And so you guys are going to have to kind of recap me at some point when we're done freaking out about how amazing that was. You're going to have to recap me in terms of what happened. Like, they activated the FTS, right? That's sort of all I gathered is
After
we got
a while.
confirmation. Yeah, like that. Did I see that correctly? It started to tumble like completely. And I was like, where's the FTS?
I feel like I need to watch the footage again. Because it felt like it was like spiraling or corkscrewing, and it turned backwards at some point. At some point, I really thought that that it was falling sideways, and it sort of had these streamers coming off the side of it as if it was like a strong wind during a cryo test or something. I mean, I don't even know what I saw, and I was watching through the long cameras here, and I kept looking up to see if it was real, but the sound, Jack, I don't even know. Jack, you were like 4 miles away. We were 6 miles away. You were 4 miles away over there, weren't you?
Yeah, that was insane. Like, I've never heard a sound like that. Not in my entire life. Not ever. Not once. Of all the rocket launches I've ever seen in my entire life, of all the cool things I've seen that I've been fortunate enough, let's be honest, I've been fortunate enough to see in my entire life, I've never seen anything like that. Like, that was just utterly, utterly insane. I cannot wait to go back and watch all the footage. I cannot wait to go back and watch our stream and grok what's going on. I've got a photo for you here. I'm gonna throw it in the old control center if you want to put it up there.
And in the meantime, since we're waiting on that replay, I'm going to go edit that, get that up for you guys hopefully in the next few minutes. In the meantime, I am going to sign off temporarily, and we'll talk with you guys soon.
Nice. And folks, you know what we're doing. We have all the different things that comes into our systems. We have prints that are going to come out. We have videos. We're going to have clips and replays and all sorts of stuff. So if you thought that was the whole show, every one of our cameras that you didn't see during the launch, during the actual live stream, we are pulling that now so we can show it to you. So that is what we're up to. Don't go anywhere. We have all sorts of replays and recaps and still photos coming in from the remote cameras and all sorts of stuff happening right now. I'm starting to ping the people that I know this stuff is coming from. We got this image coming from Jack. Oh, wait a second. That's my view, though. Look at my view on the screen. Did my stream feel? No, my stream didn't freeze because there's not a rocket on the pad anymore. Am I the only one talking? Am I even here anymore?
I can't even. I'm sorry. I'm just like I can't even believe what we just saw. I can't even believe we saw what we just saw.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My brain kind of just shut down, not just from the launch, but because Jack's photos are starting to come in, and oh my God, Jack, you are amazing.
So guys, is every rocket launch like this? Like this is normal, right? This is normal experience.
I wouldn't say that.
I think I'm detecting a bit of German sarcasm there.
Yeah, a tiny bit.
So Adrian, when are you looking for houses?
No, I was going to say, so Adrian, does this mean we can finally watch The Fifth Element?
I think we just got a bit more time.
Oh my God!
That was like
All
the
right,
15th
I tweeted
element,
it.
the 33 element. Let's make sure we get some of those tweets linked up in chat here for people that want to see the stills and stuff like that happening. I cannot believe that thing just went. I don't know what to call it other than that thing.
After so long, after so many years, after so much waiting, it's finally happened. We've taken our next steps into the solar system. Now we're looking at an empty pad. It's amazing. It's utterly amazing.
It's crazy, and my brain just shut down right at engine ignition because I was thinking, okay, engine's ignited. They're probably going to shut it down. They're going to run into some issue, and they didn't shut down, and they kept going and kept going. We lost sight of it for a few seconds because of the dust cloud at liftoff, but my brain was like, okay, it's not stopped. Where is it? And then all of a sudden you see it come out of the South Beach cam, pitching off the pad. I'm like, oh my God, it's like the Saturn V pitching away. Oh, that was phenomenal. And
can we talk about the plume for a second? What a beautiful plume. I mean, I can't even, like, it's just so gorgeous. Part of my heart hurts that it immediately went into clouds from my perspective. Was that the same for you, Das? Did it go straight into a cloud, or did you guys have viz on it for a while?
No, we saw it the whole way. We tracked it. Michael and I both had it on the trackers. I don't even know what the trackers are going to show. It was such a different launch that it wasn't getting recognized, but we were manually controlling the trackers, and we were able to keep it in frame for a lot of the time, but it wasn't just following a trajectory. It seemed to be doing loop-de-loops in the sky or something. And it was like, okay, wait, back right again, and then we need to go left. I do want to say something real quick. Patrick, I don't know if you've got our truck cam available to show. One of our remote cameras got knocked over, and it's still kicking. It's still live, but I do see some dark sort of smoke emanating from the direction of the launch site here and blowing over the remote camera area. Look at all the stuff that's been blown over. All the remote camera launch. Look at this. the tripods
this immediately
are
makes
just
me question
on their side.
This immediately makes me question the state of the cameras that were inside the pad, because this is outside the pad with the benefit of the launch site fence.
I'm sorry, this is just hilarious how we can control it when it's on its side.
It is. It's still kicking. Look, there's some cinder blocks that were holding something, but there's nothing back there anymore. And then over here, there's a dark cloud. I don't know if we're seeing this right now. We are seeing this camera that's fallen over. It is looking at the ground.
Yeah,
I know that orange. Okay, good. I know that orange tripod leg was part of the LTE antennas, but we're on point to point right now. I don't know if we have any of those other close-in cameras back yet, but hey,
it's orange.
This camera got knocked. It's orange. Nice. It got knocked over and it's still alive. I'll take it.
I love
Somebody
it.
else talk. I'm crazy.
Oh, that's so funny.
I can't even. It worked. It launched. It didn't nuke the pad. It didn't do a pad fallback. It got up into the air, and I mean, I'm kind of loop-de-loops. Like I'm gonna need to go back and watch you guys' footage. I can't wait to see these replays.
I can't wait to see
what.
All the pictures, all the video. There's gonna be probably remote video coming in. I cannot wait to see all the content that everyone from NSF and everyone in the space community overall puts out. This is what an amazing event this was. This feels like Christmas morning to the power of 15. This is and there's a SpaceX drone expecting the pad right there. Unreal. And we're seeing here in the back panel here a lot of amazing support from everyone tuning in here. Tons of store messages, new memberships, super chats, tips at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. To everyone, I'm so sorry we're not going to be able to read through all of these, but genuinely,
There's no way.
Thank you so much for all this support. It's only going to make us come back stronger for flight number 2, and I cannot wait to see what tech magic Dawson, the whole team does for flight number 2, because there's going to be a lot of lessons learned from this on how to make things even better. So to everyone who's thank you so much. But anyway, back to what we just saw. Holy, it's in such great shape. Like there's probably some damage here and there, but it is structurally there, and I cannot believe that. Oh my God.
Sorry, Ian, I'm pinging cameras to see which cameras are still alive right now.
Dawson, you are good.
I want to find another cameras that's like fallen over or something.
Interrupt me. I'm going to keep on talking here. Jack, you're welcome to talk as well. But Doss and Adrian, you could talk too. But Doss, if something comes up, interrupt me immediately. But
I will.
Yeah, tremendous shot.
Look at the pad performing. I think like a purge.
Yeah, it's doing a cleaning right now. Definitely not chilling, but shutting down the tank farm now. We can see there's definitely some damage there, some fence damage, some debris. Looks like maybe some minor fires there along the road as well. Not surprising given everything that just happened right now. But yeah, crazy. And it seems like that vent we're looking at right now in center camera is coming from around the methane tanks of the tank farm. I don't know exactly what that is. That could just be a vent for all we know, but going to keep our eyes on that for a little bit. Again, still cannot believe what just happened there. We got a ton of store orders coming in. Thank you, everyone, with that. Crazy. Adrian, we still have you, I think, maybe. Any other thoughts you want to share? Anything going through your head right now?
I mean, this was just like the moment it started to move. Like, there's one thing seeing the Raptors, and then I almost thought it was an abort. Like, it felt like it took forever before suddenly you saw the tip moving. Like, everything else was inside this giant cloud, like dust cloud, but the tip started to move, and then you're like, okay, it's on. It's apparently on.
Yeah.
And then they just went. It's, I don't know. This is amazing. This was phenomenal to see.
Okay, time out. Can we get the remote camera in? The up it finally goes. Are we able to show that real quick, or do we need to take a second here? Because we have some of the remote close-in shots already coming in right now. I don't know if we're able to. There's a lot of smoke coming from over there. There's a lot of venting. There's a lot of smoke.
Yeah. Oh, looks like some proper smoke maybe coming from around the base of the site. Definitely going to keep our eyes on that. Again, this is not surprising. This is the first test, the first all-up test of this launch site as well. So if there's some damage here and there, not surprising. But be sure to be subscribed to NASA Spaceflight, because without any doubt over the coming days, we're going to have some great videos from around the site. Once they open the road, safety area, definitely going to have some great overview videos. So be sure to stay tuned for that. I know I will.
I wonder if the windows are still in the van.
Yesterday when I saw pictures of the van setup, I'm like, I hope they have some spare windows ready. Yeesh. But hopefully it's still drivable. Anyway, I'm still physically shaking. I can't believe that happened. This is really like the maiden flight of a huge vehicle. This is basically the Saturn V kind of our generation right now. That and SLS. And speaking of Saturn V, of course, the record has now been broken. The most capable, the highest thrust, the tallest, the most massive launch vehicle ever all those records have now been broken by Starship and Super Heavy today with liftoff. So records broken today, and crazy, crazy amounts of data have been gathered for the team. Of course, obviously this was not the perfect outcome, but this is going to be so much data, so much information for the team to pour through, and it's going to make the next flight with Booster 9 and whatever ship to be even better.
Who on the NSF team is glad they didn't go to Hawaii and came here instead?
Me.
I mean, it has probably less mosquitoes.
Oh, yeah, but still, you would have watched it online. Wow. Yeah, I'm not getting any of the cameras on the van right now. I can talk to the brain of the van. I can talk to the router in the middle of the van right now. I mean, I'll update everybody. We're interested in this. But none of the cameras on the roof of the van are still up. And the one camera that got knocked over, I wonder if it could roll that enough that it could roll so it could see the launch site. I don't know if that's a thing. It's got a tripod. No, it's on a tripod. I'm not going to be able to roll it like a droid or something.
That would be hilarious. But man, crazy, crazy, crazy. We got some shots there of the tank farm venting down.
Oh no!
What's up?
Hang on, I'll talk in just a second.
Copy that, DOS. So you can see the tank farm there. Everything is being vented down, not chilling everything, cooling everything down, spooling things down, getting the site safe. But still, look at that. There's obviously some damage around the base of the tower, base of the launch mount, but still tremendous, tremendous outcome right there. And again, coming up just about 30 minutes after liftoff, we got a ton of support here. So thank you to everyone grabbing things off the store. Some of our new metal prints. We have some going up right now, actually, as a matter of fact. We have some shirts, of course. We have the patches and stickers are being sold at a crazy, crazy, crazy rate. So thank you to everyone for that. We have some crazy super chats here from Rage with $420. Thank you so much for that, Ray. That means an immense, immense amount of support to us. And that's going to, like I said, it's going to go towards making things even better for flight number 2 coming up. So thank you so much for that, Ray. And of course, everyone else for your support.
Hey, I've got a status update on the windows in the van. I see 2 of the 3 windows in the van right now. I don't know if the production team wants to show this shot or not. It looks like our point-to-point, I don't know if that's just a perspective thing or what, but the solar panel's there on top of the van, and then the 2 windows are still there on this side, but the back window looks like it may not be there. I'm not sure if y'all are getting a signal from that or not, but anyways, I'm really curious.
Not seeing anything on my end here on the production side, but
yeah, gotcha.
Still crazy. Oh, and there's a shot. Oh, never mind. But yeah, crazy thing there. And of course, hope everybody's cameras out there are safe, but I don't know how much that hoping is going to do there.
Yeah, I don't know what good hoping is gonna.
I don't think that much. I don't think it's gonna do that much, DOS, unfortunately. But man, anyone else in here have any thoughts? Anything going through your head, Adrian, Jack, DOS? Anything at all that's been processed, or at least trying to process?
Atmosphere, Ian. Like the atmosphere was so cool. You could see everybody standing on their balconies and on their and everything. And I also want to showcase something very special here, because we have something up in our store in the metal print section by Mr. Nick Ansuini, which is a metal print of the launch. Yes, we have a metal print of it lifting off. Here you go. It's now available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, fresh from Mr. Nick Ansuini from one of his cameras. So if you want to get that, you can now make sure you never forget this day with that amazing metal print.
Awesome. Great to see some metal prints coming up. And yeah, I can vouch the metal prints are amazing quality. I have one, I believe, of Ship 24, doing a static fire. And man, that picture on my wall is going to hit a little bit harder when I go back and see it this time. But yeah, tons and tons of metal prints. Starship, SLS, Falcon Heavy, Atlas, Delta 4. So much variety to choose from. So yeah, website.com. Tremendous way to support and make streams just like this happen. Whew. Still, I'm literally at a loss for words. Like, I have hosting duties right now, and I can't form words right now. But, man, what a great, great day. Tons of people in chat celebrating as well, like amazed at what they saw here. People in here chat asking about a replay. We have Sawyer actually editing that. Coming up soon, we should have the replays. Again, we don't have an estimated time of arrival on that, but we're working as quickly as we can. Let's see. Louis here asking, did Starhopper survive? It definitely looks like Starhopper survived. I'd be shocked if it didn't, because that thing has, was it 1.2 centimeter thick steel? Pretty solid on that front. But yeah, a lot of support as well here. Tons of store messages. Thank you to everyone for supporting us that way. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, the ticker is going crazy with shop messages right now.
By the way, I will update the soon to very soon TM for the replay. So everyone, stay tuned. It's almost there. I promise.
Thank you, Sawyer. Of course, that's Sawyer working diligently in the background. Now, again, we're going to keep our eyes... Oh, go ahead, Sawyer.
No, I was going to say, it's not just a pretty voice. I'm also working here to get you those replays.
Also, I want to apologize for all the chaos on the commentary the last 20 minutes, but apparently some people here